Jack, you've come to Celtic Park and given Celtic a real scare today. What's the feeling about the game?
First of all, disappointed about the cup. Said that to the players, don't ever lose that feeling of disappointment when you lose a match. That's what we want to create at this club and within it. However, once you put that aside, then an enormous amount of pride in how they performed today. They had to show immense character, discipline, belief in their own abilities, and for long periods we were very much in this cup tie. And I would suggest that there's very few teams domestically have came here and gave Celtic a tough as game as that, and I think they've recognised that as well.
I think there was a stat going about that you're the first team to be leading at Celtic Park since Barcelona came here back in November, I think. So I mean, that shows the kind of the task you were up against today. Yeah,
they are a very, very good side. Coming here at any time over the years is always difficult. Back to my own playing days, but it's fluctuated in terms of how strong they are within those periods. This is a very good Celtic team, and so we had to play very well to go out to be ahead at half time. Terrific, fantastic achievement for them to be there, and we wanted to go and win the game. We believed we could go and win the game, and I think in the early part of the second half we were very good as well. Obviously with an opportunity to go 2 ahead, which is a big moment, and we're disappointed at the manner of the first goal we conceded, because it's they don't have to cut us open. It's a little bit soft. And thereafter, I'm just glad that it didn't go any worse the scoreline, because I don't think we deserved it. I think even 4 was harsh on us as well. But they are a very good team, but enormously proud of what our players gave me today. Obviously,
you've touched on that chance where Mallin's free kick was deflected off the underside of the bar. How big a moment was that in the second half?
You never know. I think they would have came at us still, but it would have given you a 2-goal cushion. It would have probably opened up the game slightly more for us on the counter as well. I spoke beforehand, people asked about what we need to do. We need to play well, you need fortune to go your way. That was that extra little bit of fortune. Perhaps if we had got today, then we could have went on and progressed to the semi-final, but it wasn't to be.
How are the players feeling in the dressing room after that? They must feel, you say you want them to keep that kind of element of disappointment at losing a game, but they must feel happy with the shift they put in today.
Yeah, players are not. They're not daft, they understand where they're at, and they usually have a fair appreciation of how they've performed and the levels they've been at. So I didn't want to dilute that satisfaction in any way. I just wanted to emphasise it as a club. We never want to be happy with losing games, regardless of where they are and who they're against, and they understand that. But equally they know how pleased I was with how they performed, their effort levels, their desire, but also the way they played. You've got some very young players out there as well, very, very young. So Lewis Morgan was outstanding throughout the whole game, and these players will get better and stronger, hopefully with us, and hopefully help us progress this club as well.
Guys like Lewis Morgan, like you mentioned about coming here, how big an experience is this game going to be for them, and how good is it for them?
Hugely beneficial. I probably didn't realise that there's a few who hadn't experienced playing here because of the club being out the Premiership as well. For guys like Lewis, even Stevie Mallon, despite the number of games he's played, Kieran McGuinness, terrific against a Scotland international, somebody who's a fantastic young player, and Kieran Tierney as well. So great for their own individual development. It doesn't really increase my belief in them, because I've got a huge amount of belief in them anyway. I think they're very good players who go on and have really good careers. I just hope that they feed off it, what they've achieved here today, how they played, and they realise how good they are.
Mention them again. The fans gave the team a standing ovation at full time, probably an appreciation from what they've seen in the game. How important were they throughout the match, and how nice was it to have that kind of adulation at the end?
Well, their backing throughout the game was outstanding. Right through the course of the game, even in the latter stages when we did find ourselves behind and the game had gone. We realised that with even the changes we made as well, looking ahead to Wednesday. The support has been terrific during my time here. I keep saying it. I think there's a greater bond being formed between the players and them, and it's why again I make sure that Stephen takes them over close to them, so they understand how much we appreciate that support. They were here in big numbers, very vocal. And that bond is powerful. I did say it after the game on Wednesday. It matters so much at a football club. There was perhaps a little bit of a disconnect when I took the job. I want to make that stronger and better, and it only happens with what we do on the pitch. And again, we talked about players not being stupid. Neither are fans. They understand what they're seeing, and they've seen that today. They've seen a team that was desperate to do well for that badge that they represent. So long may that continue.
Now we're obviously looking forward to the rest of the league games. You get Wraith Rovers on Wednesday night. How big a game is that going to be, and how happy are you going into these kind of games with the level of performance you've seen over the last few weeks?
Well, we're in as good a place as we've been all season, which is a good starting point in terms of the mood and optimism and belief that's around the players in the changing room. We have a tough period in March with a number of games, which is if you had any choice, you would say it's not ideal. But at the same time, I think a lot of these players are in a groove. I think they feel good about themselves. They understand the importance of the league games. I believe that if we turn this around in terms of league position, it's a bigger achievement than if we came here and won today, and a bigger achievement because it's more important that we get out of this position in the Championship. And Wednesday night is a game where the players will have to replicate what they did today, and I have every confidence that they will.